Good morning, this afternoon, or evening, or midnight. Good morning in this now. Blue lunar eagle in the wave spell of the white wizard. In my case, the introspection, the inner stillness, the inner space, a vast space for the eagle to. What does it do? It floats on the currents of my spirit or spirit. I want to say I am waiting for it to land somewhere. The eagle, mind, vision, create. Vision, create, mind. The power of vision creates the essence of mind. Again, I have to ask myself, who am I doing the waiting for this eagle mind of mine? Do I own it? Does it belong to me? Or does it grace me with its presence? Part of I is the receiver, part of I is the received. So the receiver here is looking or tuning or waiting. Do I, who is I? Which part of me needs to? The wizard is looking at me saying, what are you doing? Are you having fun? Are you exploring lunarity? Are you going mental? Ooh, dancing underneath the moon. Lunatic. I am lunatic. Magnetic, lunatic, ecstatic. True that. Is my mind involved in that? Or is it just the joy of experiencing? I can't even use the word my multidimensionality. Would you want to say experiencing this multidimensionality, all these dimensions of who focuses, who tunes my radio dial, to receive, and what is my free will? What do I want to receive? And how is that in alignment with the bigger aspects that I'm a part of? How do I be in alignment with my will, my actions, my words? How do I serve the greater purpose? And also serve myself. There's a little voice that says, hey, I am the greater purpose. What greater purpose could there be? Indeed. Indeed. Who are you? The divine child. The one. Neo. Ah, the portal. Uh-huh. It's just fun. It's just like this play unfolding inside me, or this play unfolding. I don't even know why I say I get to observe it. Today we're all eagle and in the lunar position and guided by the hand. Ooh, much to say, much to say. There's one thing I very much appreciate about the transition from magician, from wizard to eagle. It's the switching of two of their fellow seals. They switch position. The wizard, the 2, 3, 4, 5, the seed and the serpent. They're switching positions. And it's very, maybe significant. We're in the beginning of the spin. It's our first wizard and our first eagle. And it's, the only wizard wave spell in the spin. And right at the start, the wizard and the eagle can have their own lesson, their way of teaching polarity, because in their kin combination, in their oracle, me and my 4 friends in the oracle, they have a pole switch. The seed takes the position of serpent, and serpent the position of seed. In my personal case, my mind is saying, oh man, please, I'm just cruising up here. I'm flying. This is so nice. Look at this gorgeous view. Oh my God, I've got the sun shining on my back and my extended wings. Like, oof, I feel like freedom, 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 freedom. I am not some wing-flapping little bird. I am an albatross. I don't feel like exploring polar switches of seeds and serpents. Please just leave me alone. They belong to the earth. That's where they belong. It's not really my territory. And yet it is absolutely my territory, because I am one of the guardians. But I'm not here for the nitty-gritties. I'm here for the overview. I'm here for the overview, the larger perspective. The interesting thing is that the eagle, to me interesting, is the eagle feeds on seeds and small earthbound animals, possibly including serpents, snakes. The mind, it can consume body. It's capable of a lot of things. And when we don't, yeah, I'm back to that. Can I take off my moralistic glasses and not call anything good or bad? It just is. We have the free will. We can use our minds to destroy our bodies. We can use it. We can do that. Most of us don't do that consciously, but doesn't mean we're not doing it. We're not off the hook. But if we strive for harmony, the mind can take the seeds, ideas, potentials, and it can ingest, digest, and then spread them. It's interesting. If we're guided by the blue hand today, knowing, healing, accomplishing. Sometimes I think all action in alignment with I'm hair splitting, is healing. Excuse my creaking couch. I have to reposition my spine. Straighten up here. And I am enjoying placing one of my hands on my face. Somehow that seems to enhance my thinking process. Do I want to think? Our mind, mind has to be defined. I'm a stickler for these definitions. What do I mean when I use the word mind? But maybe it's up to you to decide what you understand. Mind, the ego, the creative mind. We are creators. We don't tend to do we do anything without first intending to do it, having a mind-informed action? Do I do anything that is not informed? What informs my actions? And then if the ego stands for, and vice versa, I'm not needing to explore the hand which guided by the ego. But if the ego also stands for the collective and for being a guardian of the collective, greater mind, higher mind, now I'm polarizing. And maybe today it's okay to explore polarity, higher mind, lower mind. We speak of it like that, higher self, lower self. Are they that? Just because the body can't, or the mind, or the human can't incarnate or channel into form the fullness of the soul, the fullness of the self, is the not incarnated, the not physically present. Oh my goodness, how hairy are these words. Ugh, my mouth is... But is that then higher? It's got the expanded view. Like when we die, we go back into greater, to our expanded versions. Does that mean that the lesser expanded, more third dimensional version is lower? We can think of it as the first floor is lower than the second floor. It's not a value judgment. when we talk about higher self, lower self, we often include a value judgment that the lower self or your lower nature instincts, they need to be controlled. They're somehow not so good, like you're more elevated. I mean, seriously, how can you not be exhausted if that's your battleground? If you're trying to be something you're not. I mean, we're all evolving naturally, but a child doesn't try not to be 3 years old. They just want to be 7 already, or 10, or grown up, or whatever. And not always, sometimes. I have never met a 5-year-old who said, I want to be 3 again. I want my diapers back. And these are stages we go through. A lot of them are necessary stages to go through. Oh. Oh man, I could say a lot about that now, but childhood development and the stages that are necessary when we introduce shame and we introduce the mind, the rational, logical mind too early, or we're as adults not in touch with the developmental speed of each of the individual child, and we're not in touch with the child. When that happens, it's so easy to just so much can go wrong, and does. And I say that in inverted commas, whatever, because what is wrong? Everything is life. Everything is. I mean, gosh, how many humans get through their childhoods unscathed? How many? At least in my world, I know none. That's not true. I know one. Oh gosh, no, don't go there. I know more than one. Oh yeah, I know a few. And what do they have in common? Oh, that is a story for a different podcast. But we're sometimes kind of like, I mean, in childhood, I'd say we're very forced to adapt or die, to yeah, has some. And then as adults in the spiritual world, you get this spiritual bypassing. Yeah. In my view, spiritual bypassing is like a really, really earnest attempt to find the self, to find oneself, to be good, to be evolved, to evolve. Yeah, sometimes ego comes in, I'm better than everybody else, or I'm better than you, or I'm this or I'm that, but that happens on every level. I mean, that can happen, that kind of ego can come in anywhere, doesn't matter, but when we bypass as adults, any kind of bypassing, I mean, I think workaholism is also a kind of bypass. We're bypassing ourselves. Illness can be a bypass. Talking too much can be a bypassing. Got a little ding, 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 ding at the back of my head. Yep, I do ask myself that. Do I talk too much? Am I bypassing something? Myself, my silence? Am I able to be quiet? a chorus answering me. It's beautiful. I can't hear what they're saying, but it sounds like this cosmic sound. Like a billion voices, each are saying something else, and then you get the collective. It's just as it weaves into one frequency of note. One note that consists of all notes. Yeah. Take your pick, Tatjana, tune your radio dial. Which one do you want to listen to? Which one do you want to hear? Which one don't you want to hear? Which one do you want to bypass? Eagle, you choose. Yellow human, free will. I mean, it's just incredibly simple. Everything is allowed. And I feel when we look out into the world or in our immediate environment and we're taking up issue with the opinions of other people or their points of view or the things they're doing or whatever, to me that feels like such a it's like a waste of energy. That time and that energy, you could plug it into yourself and feed your joy, exercise your body, feed your mind. Not always a good idea. Feed your body, also not always a good idea. Whatever. Surf the Tolkien, always a good idea. I am not biased. My eagle is laughing, so it's about to fall out the sky. And you know what, it can, because it's so high up, it can fall for 5 minutes and then just spread its wings and go fly. Not anywhere near the ground. Mastery. I mean, there are moments of mastery and we all experience them, and they are, Maslow called it, what? Peak experiences? Peak experiences? Can we have peak experiences without our bodies involved? Or is it that each aspect of us is peaking and therefore, is that flow? Is that the flow state? Body, mind, emotion, everything in alignment, streamlined with ourselves. Yeah, and this is where I was coming from, like serving the collective by serving ourselves. My goodness, these words. But I'm going totally lunartic because I cannot speak about this without making a better or a worse case for something like pleading, putting a polarity in there. And it's that polarity that gets me shadow boxing or fighting other people's opinions because now I think I know better, or I personally don't waste my time with that. I enjoy a good debate occasionally, but when I get emotional, I lose my ability to debate. And I actually enjoy a debate when I get emotional. I enjoy the emotional aspect of it, but then I'm not good at debating, and then can only do that with someone who afterwards is like, okay, we're good. And nobody takes essential offense to the opinion of the other. But in the world, we take a lot of offense to other people's opinions. What good does that do us? And when we do that and we think we're acting in service of the world, We're not. And yet we are, because I can relativize everything, which leaves me with no point to stand on, except I feel like the image that comes to mind is like the first word that came to mind was like, I'm moving myself back or forward into superposition. I can collapse on anything, but I'm not anything. I'm everything. I'm everywhere. I can take any point of view and argue its case. But the other image that I get is like a circle with a dot in the middle, the symbol for the sun. And it feels like when I do that, I am the circle looking in on the center. Everywhere, I can look at that center from everywhere. If I look inward, let's say, for argument's sake, there's a limit. I'm going to limit the number of points. Doesn't even matter. But let's say there's 100 points, there's 1,000,000 points, 1,000,000,000 points, gazillion points, 3 points on the circle. From each of those points, when I look at the dot, each position shows me exactly the same. If I took a photo from these different positions of the dot in the center, it would look exactly the same. Mind, we're talking two-dimensional. But if it were a sphere, it would be also the same. But if I turn around and look outward and I took a picture, each and every single position on the circumference is different. To me personally right now, that's like, wow, that's a beautiful image for polarity, for duality. The same position can have such different, we can be having a view, there can be this sameness and absolute difference, absolute sameness and absolute difference. It's like yin and yang, of course. The white and the black parts are absolutely the same in shape and absolutely different in color, or is white a color, is black a color, yeah, you know what I mean. And as furthest away from the other, as opposite as it gets, black and white. Body and mind. They are linked, they cannot be separated, and yet the mind can leave the body far, 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 far. But it's never disconnected. Maybe when it dies, when the body dies, or when there is a disconnect, then the body dies, whatever. But while we are alive, and the eagle or birds are they're among the species on this planet that are most seemingly removed from the earth. They touch the earth the least. Plants are all really rooted. They cannot, except a few, be off earth at all. And animals, anything, marine is a different story, but you get my point. Animals will lift their feet, maybe jump in the tree, but they're usually, some part of their body is usually somehow attached to the earth. And if the whole body is off earth, it isn't so for long. Birds or insects, on the other hand, anything flying can be off earth. And yet, they can never be off earth. Nothing can leave the earth by its own. We are all attached to the earth. She feeds us. She nurtures us. We want to serve the collective if we don't know how to keep our own bodies healthy. And here I am, polarities again, or duality, or whatever I want to say. Without the mind, it gets difficult. On the other hand, I want to say it doesn't require any mind. The body knows itself. Both of these statements are within in their own context. They might be right, but they're not a penultimate truth. It's not either or, it's both and more. The serpent is the antipode to the eagle, antipode. So they're linked, even though they are vastly different in nature. Vastly different. If the analog kin and the main kin are the closest in nature, the closest in kind, the most like each other, in this case eagle and seed, and the analog is the least like, perhaps, but absolutely necessary for the functioning of. In this particular case with the eagle, I find it very interesting that the most like itself, the analog yellow seed, is one seal in the seal circle of 20 before the red snake, red serpent. So they're very close in the linear succession of traveling through the Tolkien. The seed comes before the full expression of the life form that is still potentialized within the seed. And of course we can travel time linearly forwards and backwards. So the full life form, life force, in turn, if you want to think of it as backwards, but it creates its own seed. It creates its own, it procreates through its producing its own seed, its offspring. 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 Interesting word. Offspring. Our offspring. I am an offspring of. We are starseed. Are we Lemurian? Where are we from? Do we need to know, or is it enough if we believe? The eagle. If the eagle is guided by the monkey, might want to be very aware. If it's guided by the night, if it's guided by the storm, oh, we're still getting to the storm. My best friend. Woohoo! The occult medicine power of the eagle is the white world bridger. Opportunity, letting go, surrender, death, transformation through letting go. The eagle can't fly if it doesn't let go of the branch. And the snake doesn't have very good vision. It has other senses by which it navigates. And the eagle, they have these like opposite senses, sharp focused vision. If we go so narrow focused like an eagle, we can get into this tunnel vision thing. Also, can be very like a laser focus. It's a power, yeah? Can make you completely blind to other aspects. Awareness is the key. Sometimes we can get so creative and so into something we're doing, we completely forget to eat. It's good to have someone around who's like, when you're in that such intense creative processes, it's good to have someone to help you keep the balances, either to provide you with food you need while you're in a really creative force field, but also to check a little on you, like, oh, how is your balance going? Do you need to take some time out from your, just need to take some downtime and go back into it tomorrow, whatever. Or not. Can we do that ourselves, the mind? So how do we serve the collective? How does the ego serve the collective? Another aspect of it, it's visionary qualities, vision. I've been asked to speak a little bit more about I'm like how I see our human relationship with the AI. What that's like a new species on our planet. Something tells me I don't really want to talk about it right now because I think it's an exhaustive topic, and I want to have, if I want to speak about it, maybe I should make a separate episode. It's very, very interesting. Some of us may be afraid for ourselves. When it comes to AI, for example, this may make me lose my job. The most common argument is this job loss that I hear of, and also the way it can be used in wars and controlling people. So it's a tool like splitting the atom. It can, in the wrong hands, they'll turn into a bomb and cause a massive heap of destruction. In someone else's hands, it creates a lot of power, electricity. I think wisdom would say this also causes a lot of like nuclear waste. We should not accept this as an ongoing means of producing electricity, but if we have it for now, let's use it to focus on, use this electricity to develop clean means of electricity. The AI comes in and becomes yet another mirror for our fears. I jump to that now because I can think to myself, it's still the human software that can, and I'm told, and I'm willing to run with that on a level of belief, and as I believe it, I pull out of the blue night, the abundant field of all experience that's out there, the collective, I pull the proof of my beliefs. I do believe the planet is we are moving, we are transitioning, we're shifting, we're in this shift. And there's I have a whole lot of reasons to believe it and to know it also. But that's my own. If I look at humans, as long as we're still so preoccupied with what's in it for me, I need to make a lot of money, I don't care, I build windmills, I sell it as the best thing ever, and I tell no one that these windmill blades aren't like whatever. I don't know what the current current development is. Maybe the thing is, I think we are problem creating machines. I think we're designed that way. I'm speaking tongue in cheek, don't take me too seriously, but sometimes I think like a human being is like the perfect problem creating device. And it's also the solution creating device. We get a kick out of that. We run on that. We love that. We create so many problems. If we didn't love it, we wouldn't do it. I mean, honestly, just for ourselves. I'm not even talking like I'm creating a solution for myself that turns out to be a problem for you or for the collective or for the planet. Like space debris, good idea or not a good idea. But eventually we find a solution. Don't we always find a solution? I find it really interesting. We are still here with all the shit that humans have gotten up to. in all of the time that they've been on Earth. We're still here. We're breathing. We're living. Why do we assume? I mean, maybe we collectively have a memory that that we've completely like annihilated humanity on this planet, like obliterated ourselves, left just a few to procreate and restart the race. But so what? We left a few, they restarted the race. One of the biggest problems we've created, in my view, and it's really serious in my books, is our fear of death. Like, come hell or high water, we are hell bent on avoiding dying. Like, what's up with that? We haven't understood anything. And when I say we, I'm not talking about the global collective. No, because for all I know, the majority of the global population doesn't take up any issue with dying. And they are not remotely as insane as we who are afraid of dying have become. I said it. And yet I say it without any moral judgment. It's okay. It's okay. So what? We're insane. And it's like, have you noticed in your life the things sometimes you fear the most, you keep getting more of? Or more reason to fear it? Like, but I'm trying to... It's like I'm reminded of the scene in Michael Ende's novel Momo, where she approaches the time master or timekeeper, or I don't know, this guy, and the grey men are chasing after her. And she comes into this zone. She has to follow the turtle. She has to follow the turtle. Really slow. And then it's like the slower you go, the faster you progress. The faster you're trying to run, the slower you progress. So they are trying to run really fast. They can't catch up with you because you're going so slow. You're faster than them. It's an oxymoron for the mind, the logical mind. The logical mind. Our God. But it's there's such wisdom in it. Where was I coming from? I got waylaid by my own logical mind there. Our minds, how do we align with ourselves? Letting go, dying. I was talking about death. It's my pet topic. One of them. I could go on talking about death and dying forever. But there's nothing to say about it. When you die, you're dead. What? In some cultures, people never die. They don't say we die. Animals die. Humans don't die. They transition. Or they have some other words for it. I get corrected. That person didn't die. They passed over. Oh, yeah. I find it fascinating that I incarnated into an atheist family. And the atheist point of view, the most open-minded atheist point of view will be like, okay, we don't know. It's just like, we don't know. But many atheists also have this kind of mind that has a hard time accepting things it doesn't know. So it places something into the place where it actually doesn't know. And then it believes it. And then it calls it true. There's no proof. Not a single human being on this planet has proof that life of the person, of the soul, of the spirit, whatever, They have no proof that the soul doesn't exist. They have no proof that spirit doesn't exist. They have no proof that life doesn't continue after death. But vehemently defend the position. Same? That's normal. Sometimes I think we're so lost with these minds because we're so hopelessly inadequately equipped to deal with them. And is that the school system that forces us, in a way, the modern school system, to become very logical and very right-brained and very polarized? We're not harmonized. We're not, school does not foster brain coherence. It doesn't foster brain-heart coherence either. And then where does that leave us? Personally, I find it a little bit tiring to look out at the world and constantly look at like our collective quote-unquote dysfunctioning. And I prefer to look, if I look at the same thing, I take off my moral glasses and it's like, yeah, we are functioning. We're functioning in this particular way right now. So we're bashing our heads in, some of us. It's so funny, religious wars on this planet, they're like a total minority. It's like, it's really not a lot. In most places on this planet, the different religions are completely peacefully coexisting, no problems at all. But for many people, it feels as if, especially if they're living in sort of religiously homogeneous places on this planet that are not yet either as diverse as some others, or they themselves are not in touch with the diversity of the place they're living in, can look as if religions can't exist peacefully, and they can. I mean, power, our hunger for power, I elaborated on that already. How do I become peaceful within myself, my mind, my body? How do I know what to let go, when to let go, to create new possibilities for myself on how to feel good, how to be healthy? If I'm not healthy, I cannot be a service to the collective. If my mind is insane, I'm not service to the collective. If my mind is moralistically polarized, I'm not service to the collective. I'm not a service to myself either. So there is that alignment with I can't speak about this without going polarized. I feel I'm polarizing as I'm speaking about this. As if, because immediately, like I'm saying, but as alignment is better than misalignment, then it's like, we're all serving the collective. It's happening. And if the collective is, I mean, there will be, you can always find insanity somewhere. You can always find something, out of balance somewhere. Whether it's in nature or but the whole is in balance. We can always fear something, or we can decide, if we can decide. I was thinking about something this morning, like worry. When we worry, have I met a person who willingly worries, like, I want to be worried about this? It's good for me. I'm choosing to worry. I choose to worry. Because when I worry, I achieve. Or whatever, yeah? Is that worry, or is that like, this concerns me, I am concerned about it, and then I'm doing something about it? Very often worry is like this involuntary state of fearing that we can't actually act or take charge or be in control. And the more we're trying to control, often the less we control. Our control issues are control. Surrender the ego. White world bridger. If I look out at the world and I decide to focus on, if I look at it, for me personally, I can look at it and just look at things that are happening. If I start pulling up the emotions and the judgments around what I'm seeing or experiencing or what seems to be going on out there, I personally, like if it's a bad, like wars and whatever we've got going, child trafficking and, the feelings I'm feeling, if that causes me some stress, anxiety, anger, grief, it serves no one. There are people who are directly involved that need to solve these things, I suppose, and we as what is our role as a collective? How can we're inundated with bad news, and we have a natural instinct to want to do something about it. But most of the time we can't, because it's not in our power to do anything about it. So we rally inwardly and and that energy, I often think that's like a placeholder for where we should actually spend the energy to do something about our own grief, our own pain, the outrage in our own selves, in our own lives, to then to enable ourselves to be. But that's again a judgment. I mean, really, yeah. If I look at the world and I say it just is what it is. This is the. If I watch a movie, I'm not yelling at the screen, or sometimes I do, but that's just part of the fun, right? But generally speaking, I'm not trying to go in there and change anything. I'm watching a movie. I'm quite aware of myself watching a drama. What is this earth plane? What is this earth plane? What is my own life? Am I watching the drama of my own life? Back to this definition of who are we? Who are you? Who are we? Are you allowed to just live your own life and let the world be the world? Let it take care of itself. You want to look at it as fucked up? You want to look at it as like, oh my God, it's a place of high drama. We're all here by choice. In my understanding, there's not a single human that comes to this place not by choice, and nobody stays here not by choice either. We have free will. That's a given. That's a given. That we don't know how to exercise it maybe sometimes, or don't realize. When we die, we realize, oh my God, yes, we chose everything. And when we live and we can get ourselves to that point of realizing everything I've lived, I've chosen, everything I am living, everything I am, has been my choice in one way or the other. And if we look at the collectives, like these are all our collective choices. Did I participate? Are my choices part of that happenings in Gaza, for example? Well, how about my choices are letting it be an episode that's only in Gaza and not much, much bigger? Because maybe we're peacekeepers in the places where we're at, and therefore most of the world is not at war with itself. How about looking at it like that? And are we voting our choices? Yellow human, our choices, and blue eagle, there's a massive link. What is our vision for this planet? It's very easy, and for our own lives, it's very easy to look out and be in like, it's all going it's not good. It's not going in a good place. And then the more we're in that space, the more proof of our points of view we filter through, we filter in. What responsibility do I have for the collective? What vision do I hold for the collective? What vision do I hold for my own now and for my own future? Who am I today? What vision of myself have I held 20, 30, 50, 60,000 years ago of who I am today? This version has been built out of visions. Has it? Or has it? If all is now, oh gosh, Tatjana, don't do it. Just don't do it. It doesn't work in the logic. I try to build a logical argument and then I'm bursting my own bubble here, like, what the fuck? What's the bottom line? There's a lot of bottom line. The bottom line is you are the creator of your own life. Whatever the collective is, whatever the out there is, I don't even, talk to a quantum physicist, you get a different answer to anybody else, whatever. So, like we all have these perspectives. Are we looking in on the circle or the dot inside the circle? Are we looking out at the surrounding what? And if we're just on one circle ring of one point, on one circle ring in the pattern 2D, flower of life, or multi-D, what are we looking at? Other circles, other points of view. Where's reality? But what does it mean? Where is my peace? Where do I get my peace, my functioning, my harmony from? Is it given to me? Do I have a say in the matter? Do I see a world when I look out there that's harmonious and functioning? Absolutely I do. Do I see the other world that's insane? Oh yeah, I can. Which one do I focus on? Neither, actually. I woke up this morning and I thought about this analogy of the two wolves. Which one do you feed? And something in me said, "Bah, stop feeding both of them. Send them off into the woods where they belong. You should not be feeding wolves. They don't need to be fed. If you feed wolves, you got to deal with the consequences. You have domesticated wolves." Oh, I mean, this is just like another going nowhere trajectory. You can poke holes into this analogy. Absolutely, please be my guest. I was just thinking, like, who am I to be feeding any wolves? How does the earth do it? How does the earth keep herself? How does the earth stay in orbit? How does she be at the exact right distance to the sun? In exactly the absolutely perfect rotational speed around the sun, around her own axis. How does Gaia do this? What intelligence is governing that? We are of that same intelligence. But this mind has some component or compartment that is, one of them wolves. Free will. We can go anywhere with it. And for me, I've stopped taking up issue with the choices other people make. You want to incarnate, you've incarnated into a war zone? Who forced you to do that? How do I know based on what souls are making their choices? How can my puny little mind, my moralistically pre-coded, filter-pressed, conditioned mind assume to understand on a spiritual level this game, this earth plane? It's so easy to be righteous. It's so easy to say this is wrong. And on a level it is wrong. I'm not saying I can absolutely, I mean, of course, if I stand next to you on that level, like, of course, I can also see what's right and what's wrong. There are other levels where my right and your wrong may be the same thing. And your right and my right may not be the same thing. And on another level, it dissolves altogether. Like when we move into the quantum field, all the Newtonian physics, or what it's called, is like the rules don't apply. They just don't apply. And to reconcile that, we can, I mean, every one of us is making the right choices for ourselves. If we're not aware of it, it's like, well, what to say? You have yeah, we all have a right not to be aware of it. We all have the right to free choice. We have the free will to explore inability, to explore being out of alignment, to explore anything at all. Sheer misery. We can explore polarity. A very good friend of mine was a lunar. She's passed. She was a lunar sun, and boy was she ever. I mean, gosh, she lived polarities to an extreme. To an extreme. I mean, she lived the highest ecstasy and the highest states of consciousness, and really, whatever that means. Yeah, very high in my books, states of consciousness, and at the same time, on other dimensions of her life, the absolute opposite. The absolute opposite. Absolutely scary. I couldn't for the longest time until I understood she's a lunar sun. I didn't understand how that was possible. That helped me understand that. The challenge. And she found her own stability. She defended all her aspects as a part of herself. She denied or negated none of them. They were a part of her, integrated in a way that it looked completely disintegrated, and it was disintegrating, and it ended up disintegrating her physically. But who's to be the judge of that? That was her way of being integrated. We are out of being out of alignment. We're still in alignment, just with something else. You may be out of alignment with yourself. You're in alignment with something else. It may or may not serve you. But we live in an attraction-based universe, so always something is serving something. Which wolf are you feeding? Maybe you want to be feeding wolves. Balance. An imbalance is always another kind of balance. So what's the bottom line for the mind, the ego, the collective? We're all here keeping the balances. Some of us are throwing bombs, others are throwing love bombs. Is one better than the other? On some level, there's a very definite answer. On another level, there's another very definite answer. And both of these answers are very different. And we each get to find our place here. We get to choose our own reason for being here. We get to choose our own reason for being, full stop. Red Dragon, it gives us, it's everything. Take your pick. What do you want to manifest? What do you want to be? Are you doing it consciously, unconsciously? It's always a choice. It's always a choice. And when we understand that we always have the choice, this is getting longer than I intended, but I remember I used to build my future. I remember at some point I noticed I stopped daydreaming. That was like, hey, wait a minute, how am I, what am I, how am I, what, what, and then I realized I was actually building my visions of anything future, quote unquote future, out of component or out of stuff that I've already lived. I noticed that all my future was built by my mind out of things that it already knew. And there's a, depending on how much that is, it's still sort of a finite number of versions. As I realized something new has to come in here. I have to leave space for something that I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it's come from. And I realized I wasn't leaving any space. I was trying to control everything. Or I just noticed like a fear of the unknown. I noticed the program of the fear of the unknown. At some point I got away from thinking of all of it, identifying with everything I was experiencing. It's just an experience. It isn't my identity. I'm not what happened to me. Or am I? But whatever. I get to choose my identity, right? And what I identify with. So I realized, and I realized that I was experiencing a fear of the unknown, and therefore I wasn't really making a space. And at some point I had that experience where I was going up to a precipice, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, innerly, like I came to the edge of an abyss, like a cliff down to, like the end, like the proverbial, or people believe in it, the edge of the world, like the end of it. There's like nothing out there. And it was really scary. It was just a mental projection, but it felt really scary. It felt really, I was extremely uncomfortable. And then I realized, I have to become comfortable with this. How else is anything new gonna come in? I don't have to stay here. I don't have to jump off the cliff. I just have to be comfortable with this place. Then I can turn around and walk away, or lie myself down, fall asleep, and see where I wake up in the morning. But if I'm afraid of this place, and I became comfortable with it, didn't take too long. The journey there was long, but didn't take too long once I was there. And then I was like, life changed after that. I became much more comfortable in the present. I became much more comfortable not controlling or planning. And part of me has always been reasonably comfortable with it, but part of me not. And then when I say part of me, there's identification again with the program. So man, just because I get to experience, like I can sit in the sun, I can sit in the shade, I'm neither, there's no identity there. I'm having an experience of sun or shade, direct sunlight or shade. It's a bit lighter for me to experience my life, to identify with what? Nothing. I identify as the experiencer of experiences. Then I have no position to defend. I have no self to defend. That's a vision. That became a vision. That became a vision for my life, made me more peaceful. But I don't have it as a vision for my life to be Miss Om. Like, you can't always be peaceful. Then I'm starting to polarize if I want to be only one pole of two. My vision is actually to be experiencing the poles, the polar opposites, to the degree that is comfortable for me. And I like extremes at times. I like, however, like a bungee jump, to come back from the extreme. Like you jump and then there's that point, you fly back up, right? I can go to an extreme, but I don't get stuck there. That's my vision. I don't want to get stuck there. I don't want to be at an extreme experience, be identified with it, think there's nothing else, and fall into either a depression, or I don't want to get stuck on either pole. It's very nice to get stuck on the happy pole, right? Like, oh no, I don't need to come off of this point. Why should I? No, I don't want to be that either, because it ultimately brings me both wolves. If I'm feeding one, I'm in this analogy, automatically feeding the other, because we are living in duality. Cannot feed only one. And that is not true. Don't do it, Tatiana. Don't do it. Yeah. So it's not either or, it's both and more. Like, my vision for me is like, I'm like a gyroscope, but not always. I am. Sometimes I can have the experience of going to any extreme, experience it, and then leave that experience. Come back to the center, go up from left and right like a seesaw, and then I can sit in the center. I can watch the seesaw, but I'm not moving myself. I can be on both sides at the same time, whatever. That's a more playful vision with my options for me personally. And I can see that we're doing that. I can see that I've been doing that all along. I'm doing that. I've gotten really stuck. It's been difficult to come unstuck. That frustration. But and I see us doing that as a collective, and we will do that until we don't. There's nothing to worry about. We've got this. We have really got this collectively. I think it can be, for some people, I would recommend have a little faith in us as a whole. And if you don't, then investigate the red dragon a little bit. Investigate, where did you lose your faith in life? Maybe yourself, maybe your mother, maybe whatever. Somewhere there's a crack, and the crack, a wise man said, is where the light comes in. Maybe Rumi was also just quoting someone, but he didn't mention who he was quoting, because you can always quote the truth. Is a truth. Cracks are where the light comes in. Yeah, my photo ran out, and this is a great time to stop, because I have a lot of time today, and I can go on. If you've listened to here, if you've made it to here, thank you. Although, of course, you're not doing that for me. But I connect with you. We are connected. Whether you're listening or not, we're connected anyway. And yeah. It's the 24th of December. Anyone celebrating Christmas today? Merry Christmas. Tomorrow we've got the Yellow Warrior. Pure deliciousness. And his electric tone 3, guided by the sun. Oh, yes, my guy. I love the Yellow Warrior. I can't wait to come back here and explore. Oh, yes. Okay. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your family if you're spending it with family. If you're listening to this on any other random day, enjoy your spirit family. Enjoy your cellular family. Each and every one of your little cells in your body, and they're huge from the perspective of something smaller than your cells, but from our perspective they're small, so they're all dancing your body into shape and being, and they love you and they live you, and enjoy them. Have a feast with them, whatever day it is. Merry Christmas to ourselves. May our love be the present we give to ourselves today, and ourselves. Oh.